her last couple of months, my first couple of months, like we had cross paths. That's our crossover. So
where at?
in Green Bay.
Oh.
I was there since I was there for like 3 years. Okay. Well, I got there when like June of 22. Yes, but I think we were working. I was working weekends because I was still in school. Yeah. Or no, I was working.
5 more minutes, sir. 5 more minutes.
Something I was working digital. I was working something. No, I was in strict. I don't really remember. I was in a different time. I know you were. Yeah. I think I remember you with your curly hair. I was always like, I love because I have curly hair too. Yeah. But I'm like, no longer with this heat and humidity. I'm not even gonna try. No, I'm so lazy anymore. Like, I can know that's all natural hair. Kind of in between. It's kind of a frizzy poof. It's kind of wavy. A little bit. I mean, I'm a little on the weird side, but like kind of like a beach wave, I guess, if you will. But you know, I mean, curling my hair takes so much time, especially from scratch. If I'm like curling, it probably takes me like 40 to 45 minutes. But if I just straight, it takes me like 15 minutes. So that's why, even though I feel like it's so hair, your face fits curly. It's not influencing it.
Here. Stick mic, I'll put it in my pocket.
Okay. Thanks.
Know that everyone at your station knows their business.
No, those weren't even on.
Oh, it's not?
No, I said the nap mic we'll pick her up though. So. I just had to get I had to get the backpack running early because I didn't want to rush trying to like tune it in while we're in there and then all of a sudden we're like hosed. But I always warn everybody that there's a hot mic in the room, so if you start talking all kinds of smack or something like that and somebody hears it.
Yeah.
Then how we done at 5. And we just 4:30 back.
Most every courthouse is not going to let you do live shots in the building outside the courtroom.
Yeah, we're just going to have to go outside. I don't think it's too hard.
Your coffee. Your all's coffee. You guys can come on in. You guys can make yourself at home. Yeah.
You good, Nick? That's what we're here for.
Make sure I don't get caught on something on the way through.
There you go. Alright, I'll see you Monday. I'll send you that set up.
However you want to do back corner if you like. Whatever you think's best.
Which side do you say?
I'm thinking right, probably this side. That way you can shoot this way. So if you want to do over there, if you want to do back here, it's up to you.
I'm even going to jury boxes so I'm out of the way if somebody needs to come through.
It's more of a fall hazard than me.
I have the.
She's like, yeah, you're on your own. I don't know what I can do.
Nick, you need this?
Yeah, I don't know yet.
Okay.
I have to be able to work with the mics.
That'd be fine too.
That way it's in between.
That sounds good to me. Typically when I do like video conferencing or whatever, my microphone's just right there in the middle too, so that works.
Appreciate it, sir. It started raining? I thought,
Sometimes.
I was looking at the screen, it looked like raindrops in the wall. I was like, oh
And it
gosh.
might, it might be.
I'm using the stick knife for it because it's got more direction. This is saying the clouds are even going to go away pretty soon here. It's going to be sunny the rest of the day. Yeah. That I'm going to see it here. one. Where's the mic coming from? Oh, I get these are all microphones, but like, where is there a spot where I'm plugging into to get the audio from this? That's a microphone, not a speaker. That's a microphone.
When you speak into it.
Yeah. That's where I was trying to get at. I'm like, unless I can hear the audio coming from somewhere, I'm not going to finish
Oh,
it.
okay. I was gonna say, no,
Take a left and a right, the first chair's for you. First chair right there, some papers for you in front of you. You read and write English okay?
Yes.
So that laminated sheets are standard terms and conditions of bond. You want to take a moment, review those. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, Judge will answer those for you.
Madam Court Reporter, may we please?
yes, Your Honor.
Thank you kindly. Good afternoon. We're on record in case 20-25-0090. Said matter is captioned in the Court of Common Pleas. It's in the Criminal Division of Adams County. State of Ohio is the plaintiff. Mr. Brian Moser is the defendant. It's noted that the matter appears before the court on the 10th day of July of 2025 for purposes of arraignment pursuant to a 10-count indictment. The State of Ohio will be represented by prosecuting attorney Mr. Aaron Haslam, as well as Mr. Tyler E. Cantrell. Assistant Prosecuting Attorney. Also present is Mr. Brian Moser. So you're Brian Moser? Are you Brian Moser?
Yes, that's correct.
And your address, please.
4246 Old Dutch Road, Manchester, Ohio.
And who else resides there with you, Mr. Moser?
My grandmother.
Is there a telephone number at your grandmother's home, or do you have a cell phone, or both?
I have a cell phone. She has a home phone.
Okay, what's the home number, please?
I don't know the numbers. I'm sorry.
You don't know your cell phone number either?
No, I just changed it before I came.
Very well. Your date of birth, please?
May 16th, 2002.
Thank you. Mr. Moser, did you receive a copy of all 10 counts of the indictment?
Yes, I did.
And did you have those in your possession at least 24 hours before today's hearing?
Yes, that's correct.
How old are you, Mr. Moser?
23 years old.
And what's your highest level of education that you
High
finished or
school.
completed?
At high school.
Very well. As a result of attaining your high school degree, are you able to read and write the English language?
Yes, that's correct.
As you're sitting here today, do you feel that you're under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, prescription medications, or any illegal substances? Anything that would cause you in any way to be confused about today's proceedings? Have you ever been adjudicated incompetent, meaning that after a psychiatric or psychological evaluation, it was determined you have a mental illness, defect, or disease that causes you to no longer understand the difference between what's right and wrong, what's legal and illegal? Has that ever been declared upon you in a court of law?
I don't believe so.
And are you also a United States citizen?
That's correct.
So, Mr. Moser, your indictments, each start off with the same general language stating that the jurors of the grand jury of the state of Ohio within and for the body of the county aforesaid on their oaths in the name and by the authority of the state of Ohio that the grand jury has found and now presents these charges against you to the Court of Common Pleas. It's alleged in count 1 that you, Brian Moser, on or about the 30th day of June 2025 to the 2nd day of July 2025 in the county of Adams, that you recklessly administered corporal punishment or other physical disciplinary measure or physically restrained the child in a cruel manner or for a prolonged period, which punishment, discipline, or restraint was excessive under the circumstances and created a substantial risk of serious physical harm to LB, who has a date of birth of May 1st, 2023, a child under 18 years of age with the date of birth of May 1st, 2023. This is alleged in violation of Ohio Revised Code 2919.22b3 and 2919.22e3. You've been accused of endangering children. It's a felony of the second degree. Do you understand what you've been accused of in count 1?
I understand.
If convicted of this offense by way of a plea of guilty or a finding of guilt at trial, at the time of sentencing, you face a maximum penalty of an indefinite sentence of 8 to 12 years incarceration and a maximum fine of $15,000. Do you understand, sir?
I understand.
Thank you. Count 2 alleges that you, Brian Moser, on or about the 30th day of June 2025 to the 2nd day of July 2025 in the county of Adams, you caused the death of LB with a date of birth of May 1st, 2023, as a proximate result of the offender committing or attempting to commit an offense of violence that is a felony of the first or second degree, specifically child endangerment, in violation of 2919.22b3, 2919.22e3, in violation of Ohio Revised Code 2903.02b, 2903.02d, and 2929.02b. You've been accused of murder. It's an unclassified felony. Do you understand what you've been accused of in count 2?
I understand.
If convicted of this offense by way of a plea of guilty or a finding of guilt at trial, at the time of sentencing, you face an indefinite sentence, mandatory of 15 years to life, and a maximum fine of $20,000, as well as mandatory post-release control upon your release. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Any questions about count 2? Count 3 alleges that you, Brian Moser, on or about the 30th day of June 2025 through the 2nd day of July 2025 in the county of Adams, that as a parent, guardian, custodian, or person having custody or control of a person in loco parentis of a child under 18 years of age, that you recklessly created a substantial risk to the health or safety of LB with a date of birth of May 1st, 2023, by violating a duty of care, protection, or support, alleged in violation of Ohio Revised Code 2919.22a and 2919.22e2c. You've been accused of endangering children. In count 3, it is a felony of the third degree. Do you understand what you've been accused of?
I understand.
If convicted of this offense by way of a plea of guilty or a finding of guilt in count 3, the maximum penalty would be 3 years in prison and a maximum fine of $10,000. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Count 4 alleges that you, Brian Moser, on or about the 30th day of June 2025 through the 2nd day of July 2025 in the county of Adams, you caused the death of LB with a date of birth of May 1st, 2023, and such death was a proximate result of Brian Moser committing or attempting to commit a felony offense of child endangering in violation of 2919.22a, 2919.22e2c, alleged in violation of Ohio Revised Code 2903.04a and 2903.04c. You've been accused of involuntary manslaughter. It's a felony in the first degree. Do you understand what you've been accused of?
I understand.
If convicted of the offense in count 4, you should understand that the maximum sentence will be a mandatory prison term of an indefinite sentence of 11 to 15.5 years in prison and a maximum fine of $20,000. Do you understand?
I understand.
Any questions about count 4? Count 5 alleges that you, Brian Moser, on or about the 30th day of June through the 2nd day of July 2025 in the county of Adams, that you did recklessly administer corporal punishment or other physical disciplinary measure or physically restrain the child in a cruel manner or for a prolonged period, which punishment, discipline, or restraint was excessive under the circumstances and created a substantial risk of serious physical harm to LB for the date of birth of May 1st, 2023, a child under 18 years of age, in violation of Ohio Revised Code 2919.22b3 and 2919.22e3. You've been accused of endangering children. It's a felony of the second degree in count 5. Do you understand what you've been accused of?
I understand.
If convicted of this offense by way of a plea of guilty or a finding of guilt at trial at the time of sentencing, you would be facing a maximum penalty of an indefinite sentence of 8 to 12 years, which would be mandatory, and also a maximum fine of $15,000. Do you understand?
I understand.
Any questions on count 5?
No.
Count 6 alleges that you, Brian Moser, on or about the first day of April 2025 through the second day of July 2025 in the county of Adams, that you did recklessly administer corporal punishment or other physical disciplinary measure or physically restrain a child in a cruel manner or for a prolonged period, which punishment, discipline, or restraint was excessive under the circumstances and created a substantial risk of serious physical harm to LB, who has a date of birth of May 1st, 2023, a child under 18 years of age, in violation of Ohio Revised Code 2919.22b3 and 2919.22e3. You've been accused of endangering children. It's a felony of the third degree. Do you understand what you've been accused of in count 6?
I understand.
If convicted of this offense at the time of sentencing, the maximum penalty would be 3 years in prison and a maximum fine of $10,000. Do you understand?
I understand.
Count 7 alleges that you, Brian Moser, on or about the 30th day of June 2025 through the second day of July 2025 in the county of Adams, that you recklessly administered corporal punishment or other physical disciplinary measure or physically restrained the child in a cruel manner or for a prolonged period, which punishment, discipline, or restraint was excessive under the circumstances and created a substantial risk of serious physical harm to IB, with a date of birth of March 12, 2024, a child under 18 years of age, in violation of Ohio Revised Code 2919.22b3 and 2919.22e3. In count 7, you've been accused of endangering children. It's a felony of the second degree. Do you understand what you've been accused of?
I understand.
If convicted of this offense in count 7 by way of a plea of guilty or a finding of guilt at trial, at the time of sentencing, you would be facing an indefinite sentence, maximum sentence of 8 to 12 years incarceration in an appropriate state penal institution, as well as a $15,000 fine. Do you understand, sir?
I understand.
Count 8 alleges that you, Brian Moser, on or about the first day of April 2025 to the second day of July 2025 in the county of Adams, that you recklessly administered corporal punishment or other physical disciplinary measure or physically restrained a child in a cruel manner or for a prolonged period, which punishment, discipline, or restraint was excessive under the circumstances and created a substantial risk of serious physical harm to IB with a date of birth of March 12, 2024, a child under 18 years of age, in violation of Ohio Revised Code 2919.22b3 and 2919.22e3. It's known as endangering children. It's a felony of the third degree. Do you understand what you've been accused of in count 8?
I understand.
If convicted of this offense by way of a plea of guilty or a finding of guilt at the time of sentencing, the maximum sentence would be 3 years in prison and $10,000 in fines. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Count 9 alleges that you, Brian Moser, on or about the 30th day of June 2025 through the second day of July 2025 in the county of Adams, you recklessly administered corporal punishment or other physical disciplinary measure or physically restrained a child in a cruel manner or for a prolonged period, which punishment, discipline, or restraint was excessive under the circumstances and created a substantial risk of serious physical harm to AB with a date of birth of January the 23rd, 2020, a child under 18 years of age, in violation of Ohio Revised Code 2919.22b3 and 2919.22e3. You've been accused in count 9 of endangering children, a felony in the second degree. Do you understand what you've been accused of?
I understand.
If convicted of this offense by way of a plea of guilty or a finding of guilt at the time of sentencing, the maximum sentence would be an indefinite sentence of 8 to 12 years incarceration in an appropriate state penal institution, as well as a maximum fine of $15,000. Do you understand, sir?
I understand.
Count 10 alleges that you, Brian Moser, on or about the first day of April 2025 to the second day of July 2025 in the county of Adams, you recklessly administered corporal punishment or other physical disciplinary measure or physically restrained a child in a cruel manner or for a prolonged period, which punishment, discipline, or restraint was excessive under the circumstances and created a substantial risk of serious physical harm to AB with a date of birth of January 23rd, 2020, a child under 18 years of age, in violation of Ohio Revised Code 2919.22b3 and 2919.22e3. You've been accused of endangering children. It's a felony of the third degree. Do you understand what you've been accused of in count 10?
I understand.
If convicted, Mr. Moser, of this offense in count 10 by way of a plea of guilty or a finding of guilt at the time of sentencing, you'd be facing a maximum penalty of 3 years in prison and a maximum fine of $10,000. Do you understand, sir?
I understand.
Mr. Moser, if convicted in counts 1 through 10, at the time of sentencing, the maximum sentence would be 63 years to life, as well as maximum fines of $140,000. Do you understand, sir?
I understand.
Mr. Moser, the court will enter a not guilty plea on your behalf to counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Mr. Moser, as a United States citizen, if you cannot afford the cost to hire an attorney, then one could be appointed to represent you. It's based upon your income and your assets. Have you hired an attorney, or do you intend to hire an attorney to represent you in this case, sir?
I wanted the court to appoint me.
Very well. It's based upon your income and your assets. Can you tell me where you're employed at, sir?
Unemployed.
When were you last employed?
4 months ago,
Where was that, sir?
McDonald's. West Union.
And how many hours did you normally work per week?
32 at least.
Okay. And what was your hourly rate?
12.
Do you have any other sources of income, such as unemployment compensation or workers' compensation?
No, I do not.
Do you receive aid to dependent children, cash assistance, or child support?
No.
Mr. Moser, do you own any bank accounts?
Not anymore. No, I don't.
Okay. Do you own any land or real estate? Do you own any personal property, like a car, truck, boat, tools, four-wheeler? It does appear that you'd be eligible for the appointment of counsel. Mr. Moser, it's the court's intent to appoint Mr. C. Nicholas Ring of the Ohio Public Defender's Office, unless you know of a real or perceived conflict of interest that Mr. Ring would have as your counsel. Do you know of any conflict of interest?
No, I do not.
There is potential, Mr. Moser, that I may appoint a second counsel to assist with Mr. Ring. He is capital murder qualified, so he's easily qualified for this particular case, but I may assign a second attorney to set second chair. I'll make that determination later on, okay? You're welcome. You will be provided a card with the name, address, and telephone number of Mr. Ring at the conclusion of this hearing. Also, at the conclusion of the hearing, Mr. Fight, our bailiff, is going to stop by a designated phone outside of this courtroom. There will be a call made to the law office of Mr. Ring by you to advise Mr. Ring that he's been appointed to represent you. You feel you understand that?
I understand.
You will be required to fill out a financial disclosure form that would have been part of the packet of documents that were served upon you. That financial disclosure form needs to list any and all sources of income and the amounts of income. You must list any assets that you own, any real or personal property, and the approximate values of those assets. You'll need to turn that into the clerk of court's office. Mr. Larry Heller is the clerk of courts of Adams County. He's the gentleman seated closest to you, to your right at the bailiff's desk. This needs to be turned in within 10 days of today's date. You'll also be required to pay a $25 indigent counsel fee fund. Do you feel you understand that?
I understand.
Any questions about any of that?
No.
Thank you, sir. State of Ohio would like to be heard on the issue of bonds.
Yes, Your Honor, may it please the court. The state of Ohio is going to ask that the $500,000 cash surety bond that was set in county court be continued. We'd ask the court to consider the nature and circumstances of the charges, the fact that they include 63 years to life in prison. We would ask that the court consider that we have a dead 2-year-old in this case, also a 1- and a 5-year-old with significant injuries. Additionally, we would ask the court to take into account the defendant's answers to the questions relating to property ownership. He currently does not own property to insure his appearance. Additionally, he's not employed at this time. And the address that he gave the court, we don't believe he's lived there since March of 2025. So to ensure his appearance, we would ask that bond be continued.
Thank you, Cal. Mr. Moser, is there anything you'd like to be heard on the issue of bond?
No.
Mr.
Your
Moser,
Honor, Your Honor, if I may,
you may.
additionally, in case he were to post bond, we would ask for no contact orders with the two live victims being IB and AB, and that he not have any contact with his co-defendant, Tien Hawkins, who's set to be arraigned tomorrow, I believe, in this court.
Do you know how to spell Ms. Hawkins' first name?
I do. It's, let me just double check. It's Tien.
Hawkins?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Moser, your bond will be $1 million. It'll be cash or surety. There is no 10% cash provision attached to this. You'll also be subject to the standard conditions of this court. You'll be required to pay a $25 surcharge fee. That should be paid within 10 days of today's date, as well as a $60 victim of crime and indigent defense support fund fee, which should be paid within 60 days of today's date. As a result of being accused of felony offenses, you'll be required to be fingerprinted by the Adams County Sheriff's Department. Do you feel you understand that, sir?
I understand.
Mr. Moser, did you read the standard conditions of bond of this court?
No.
Would you please take an opportunity to review those, sir?
Okay, I've read through that.
Do you have any questions about any of those conditions, sir?
No, I do not.
In the event that you do post bond, you will have a curfew between the hours of 3 p.m. and 5 a.m., meaning you must be at your residence address between those periods of time unless any of the 5 exceptions that they apply. 5 exceptions are if you're gainfully employed, then you can be outside your curfew to travel to and from that place of employment as well as to work all shifts, including overtime. Second exception is if you or someone else living in your home, like your grandparent, is having any medical issue, then we certainly want you to attend to those medical issues. You can travel to and from the medical facility for yourself or for that loved one, as well as to remain until all medical treatment is concluded. The third exception is if you're attending any higher educational, vocational training, you can be outside your curfew to travel to and from that higher educational, vocational training and to attend all classes. The fourth exception is if you're attending any faith-based services, such as church. As an example, you can be outside your curfew to travel to and from the faith-based services, as well as to attend all the services. And then lastly, if you're attending any drug or alcohol abuse counseling, you can be outside your curfew to travel to and from the abuse counseling, as well as to attend all classes. Do you feel you understand the curfew and the exceptions?
I understand.
Also, a condition of bond, you'll have no contact with the alleged victims, I, B, and AB. Do you understand who these alleged victims are? You have no contact with them, nor will you have any contact with the alleged co-defendant, Ms. Tien Hawkins. Do you understand?
I understand.
Any questions, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Moser, by signing these conditions of bond, you're acknowledging you understand them, you'll obey them, and you'll be arrested if you do not, as well as forfeit any money posted. Mr. Heller, anything additional?
No, Your Honor.
Madam Clerk, report.
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Haslund,
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Cantrell.
No, Your Honor.
Is there anyone on behalf of the victim, the alleged victim's family, who would like the state of Ohio to bring anything else to the court's attention before we conclude today's hearing? No? Mr. Moser, most importantly, sir, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Very well. With that said, that shall conclude today's hearing. We were off record. Thank you.